The FBI is now warning about the growing threat of terrorist attacks here in the U.S.
As the deadly conflict continues there in the Middle East, many major cities are increasing security right here in the U.S.
The FBI has warned that a domestic attack in the United States by Hamas is a rising threat. Take a look. It has been trending all over the news in the past 48 hours. Articles coming out like this: threats in the U.S. rising after Hamas attack on Israel, says FBI Director Christopher Wray. And let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think that attacks by Hamas are coming on the way? Well, it was just 2 weeks ago. Take a look at this. The White House sped up additions to Trump's border wall years after Biden had vowed that there would not be another foot of the border wall built. Could it be that they are concerned of terrorists entering into our borders, preparing for attacks in the United States on our soil? And this comes also after, over the weekend, we saw protests all over the United States taking place supporting Hamas, Palestine, support for Israel, and this is spreading around our nation. Now, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest, and I'm going to share with you the video footage and the articles coming out on this. And I know that this is not what anybody wants to hear, that there potentially could be threats of attacks in the United States, but I want to make sure that you and your family know what is the latest that's going on, so that way you are prepared. I believe that knowledge is power, and if you agree and you appreciate the updates, don't forget, smash the like button for me. Just takes a second. And if you want to stay up to date on everything, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I'll let you know everything taking place with the wars around the world, the potential world war we're hearing, also what is here domestically with our Congress, our economy, Social Security, what's available for you and your family. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the article first. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest as to what the FBI is warning of. Then I'm going to share with you some video footage so you can see it for yourself of what they're saying and protests taking place supporting Hamas in different parts of the United States. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So as always, link in the description below to this article that came out in the past 48 hours as the FBI made this announcement. And this article says that threats in the United States have been rising since Hamas invaded Israel a week ago. FBI Director Christopher Wray and FBI officials said on Sunday in a rare phone briefing for reporters. Now, the threat is very much ongoing, and in fact, the threat picture continues to evolve, Wray said. Here in the United States, we cannot and do not discount the possibility that Hamas or other foreign terrorist organizations could exploit the conflict to call on their supporters to conduct attacks on our own soil. And you're going to be seeing here in a second, they're saying this could be organized groups or it could be individual actors that are just inspired to go do attacks. He said that the Jews and the Muslims alike, as well as their institutions and houses of worship, have been threatened in the U.S. and told reporters that the Bureau is moving quickly to mitigate the threats. Wray, in an address Saturday to the International Association of Chiefs of Police, also noted an increase in reported threats, and in particular warned that we've got to be on the lookout for lone actors who may take inspiration from recent events to commit violence on their own. He urged police chiefs to stay vigilant because, as first responders, you're often the first to see signs that someone may be mobilizing to violence. Senior FBI officials said most of the threats are not credible and some have been addressed. As Wray suggested, the Bureau's biggest concern is a lone wolf-style assailant who is not on their radar. This type of threat is best addressed through tips from the public, the official said. They told reporters that there have been threats against Muslim facilities as well as Jewish facilities. Threats against Muslim centers are up, although the level of anti-Semitic threats is also spiking. The FBI is working through joint terrorism task forces to mitigate threats and to keep these communities safe, Wray said. The FBI director twice said that he was horrified by the brutality committed at the hands of Hamas and said that countering terrorism is the Bureau's #1 priority. We will not tolerate violence motivated by hate and extremism, he said. Wray also said that the Bureau's legal attach office in Tel Aviv is working with Israeli and U.S. embassy partners to locate and identify all Americans who have been impacted in the region, including whom remain unaccounted for. He added that victim service specialists are working with victims and their families at home and abroad. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the video footage that's coming out so you can see what is taking place and the warnings coming out for the United States.
As the fighting escalates between Israel and Hamas, the FBI is now warning about the growing threat of terrorist attacks here in the U.S.
That's right. The FBI director says the agency is seeing an increase in reported threats against both Jewish and Muslim Americans. And now local authorities are working to keep these communities safe. Joining us is NBC News investigative correspondent Tom Winters. So, Tom, did the FBI director elaborate on the exact kinds of threats they're seeing right now?
Right. Well, it's all centered around what we're seeing in the Middle East, in this Israel and Hamas war, what's going on there. There's an awful lot of rhetoric online. And he made those comments in front of the International Association of Chiefs of Police gathering in San Diego over the weekend, focusing in telling them effectively, hey, we're on this, but we've got an increase in threats. And now it's up to law enforcement to determine how credible these threats are, if any of these individuals are capable of acting out. And if so, if it meets the threshold, you're allowed to say a lot in this country under the First Amendment, but you're not allowed to threaten people's lives. And so if certain things are triggered, then they're able to make an arrest. Or if you're supporting Hamas materially with funding, financing, or trying to help them out in any way, they're a designated foreign terrorist organization. You could end up in handcuffs. So that's what the FBI appears to be focused on.
I know the FBI director also mentioned what we would consider lone wolves, right? Like single actors acting on their own, which I imagine is very difficult to monitor or stop.
Very difficult, if not impossible, because basically it's somebody who is either consuming all sorts of online rhetoric or media and makes a decision that they want to act out in some way for their cause or against a cause, and they may not post anything online. They may not tell anybody they're going to do what they're going to do. They may not even purchase a gun. And so, yes, those are the most difficult things to stop, and that's why you're seeing this visible police presence outside of here in New York City, for example, synagogues and mosques and other public areas of gathering, just to make sure people understand that if you do try to show up there and do something, you're going to be met with force. You're going to be met with a uniformed officer. So that's what they're focused on.
As the deadly conflict continues there in the Middle East, many major cities are increasing security right here in the U.S. This all comes as a number of protests and rallies they've been held, with more coming and planned. In fact, students at Columbia University held pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian protests just last night, prompting school officials to close campus ahead of the heated demonstrations.
NBC News correspondent Stephen Romo is at Baruch College in New York with more.
Yeah, guys, there is a protest planned here at Baruch College. Coming up in just a little bit, people are beginning to gather. But last night at Columbia, each side was quite heated. The university and NYPD doing everything they could to keep these parties apart, even having separate entrances for them. And as we mentioned, that outrage is continuing today.
And Stephen, we know law enforcement has been increasing security in major cities across the U.S. after a former Hamas chief called for worldwide protests today. What steps are being taken where you are and that you're hearing from law enforcement to keep everyone safe?
Yeah, we've seen a huge showing from the NYPD over the last couple of days. Local and federal officials have really stepped up their patrols. In fact, NYPD yesterday calling off all training for officers so they could all be out in uniform to have a larger presence amid all these tensions.
So there you have it. And again, be on the lookout if you see any suspicious activities taking place here in the United States. There's a lot going on with college campuses, and they're saying that it could be lone wolf actors that could be the biggest threat, that are inspired to take a stance against or for their cause. And we really need to watch out to make sure that there is no violence that takes place here. And also, things are escalating across the ocean in the Middle East, as we're also hearing Iran continuing threats. And I shared with you in a previous video that Russia and China right now as well, they're starting to make their stances and let the U.S. know that they must be careful about their decisions, or we could be looking at a potential World War III. Now, if you missed that video, this is recent information that came out over the weekend, as we're hearing that World War III potential is escalating at heights never seen before. Check out this video right here next as I cover it in detail. And also, if you missed the latest updates on Social Security, be sure to check them out on the channel as well, as I've been covering all the latest, and I will keep you up to speed on everything. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.